Welcome into the bunker of General Gridiron, field marshal of football forecasting. We're about to map out the way this college football weekend is gonna go. Will your favorite team be marching to victory, or will the enemy be taking your battle flag? Well, we got past last weekend's SEC Giant Division battles. What a joke, Kentucky and LSU. Both you felines went hiding in the corner when the opportunity for a big home win and a ticket to Atlanta was on the line. But congrats to Harry Dog and Big Al for the conference championship berth. Now, on to week 11. So grab your helmet and man those battle stations. Get ready for another round of General Gridiron's football foretelling. Clemson at Boston College. We'll start this week's picks with the biggest game in the land. We know how good the Pickens County Paw Patrol is, and that the stars have aligned for Team Dabo to punch their CFP ticket for the 4th straight season. But up in Beantown, the number 17 Eagles seem to have put on their war paint and are ready for another Boston Tea Party. BC's in Chestnut Hill for this college game day spectacular, and the frenzy here just might eclipse recent Patriot and Red Sox celebrations. Will Steve Adazio's bunch of ballers pack their car right on top of the South Carolina Agrarians? You betcha. The Generals victor, Boston College, and a big old Beantown upset. Mississippi State at Alabama. The Tide got out of Death Valley without a scratch, and with 3 home games to close the season against the Bullies, next week versus the Citadel, and the Iron Bowl versus Auburn, fans of the Capstone should be able to take the rest of the season off until the SEC championship game. But it's exactly that kind of arrogance Nick Saban is on guard for. If tricky Nick Fitzgerald's allowed to run and a few cowbells get snuck into BDS, this could be a game for a quarter. The Hawaiian under center will have a field day for a half. Then it'll be Mac Jones to the rescue time. The Tide rolls early and often. The Generals victor, Alabama. Florida State at Notre Dame. In the old days, like 2 years ago, this showdown in South Bend would have been the envy of college football fans across the spectrum. But after Jimbo Fisher escaped the dumpster fire inside the FSU football program, things haven't exactly improved. The Irish survived a trap game in Evanston last Saturday night, and this week's home tilt versus the TPers from Tallahassee could be their last game before the CFP that includes a team rich with athletic physique. One giant problem, this Noles team might have the muscles, but not the moxie. The Generals victor, Notre Dame. Auburn at Georgia. The Deep South's oldest rivalry. With UGA already chewing on the SEC East bone in the doghouse, this clash between the hedges may not have quite the drama some of these battles have had in recent years. The wheels just about fell off the Gus Bus this season, but the Plainsmen have had quite the rally with 2 straight SEC West wins. The Dogs will be swift, both literally and figuratively. DeAndre's already scampered into the end zone on 7 occasions. And with Albie's schizophrenic D, that tally will only go up this weekend. The Generals victor, Georgia. Oklahoma State at Oklahoma. Bedlam. What a great rivalry in college football. But just as I asked at this same point last year, what in the world are these 2 in-state arch rivals doing playing on 10 November? This game should be the last regular season contest played by OU and OSU. Period. End of story. The Sooners need this home win to keep up with emerging Big 12 contender West Virginia. And apologies, a moment ago I called Auburn's defense schizophrenic. Strike that from the record, Your Honor. The only team that wacky word should be attributed to is Oklahoma State. Winners 2 weeks ago versus Texas, losers last week to the Bad News Bears of Baylor. The Generals victor, Boomer Sooner, Oklahoma rolls. Ahead on General Gridiron, a whiskey barrel and a victory bell are on the lines at games played at Neyland Stadium and Wallace Wade Stadium respectively. Plus, the Sun Belt's East Division picture will get a whole lot clearer after Troy and Georgia Southern get after that, well, you know. Keep it here. General Gridiron will be right back.
I was living in a shelter juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
Howdy, soldiers. This is General Gridiron back with you. Each week, this fabulous football forecast is heard on some of the finest radio stations where college football rocks. WTKE FM 100.3 FM, 93.5 FM, and 97.1 FM. The Ticket Sports Network on the white sandy beaches of Destin, Fort Walton Beach, Pensacola, and Panama City, Florida. And Fun Radio, KBYO FM 92.7 in the home of the Warhawks, Monroe, Louisiana. We appreciate all of our radio affiliates. Now, let's get back into the football fight. Kentucky at Tennessee. Roll out the barrel. Big Blue Nation currently has a one-game win streak in this rivalry game and pathetically have only won this contest twice since 1984. Will this trip down to Neyland be the cure, as Scratch is certainly singing the blues after last week's home thumping to Georgia? The Vols coming to this on a win streak, something rare along the Tennessee. Big Orange sophomore field general Jarrett Garantano has progressed this season, but a pesky UKD just might be his downfall this weekend. The Generals victor, the battle for the beer barrel, goes to Kentucky. Washington State at Colorado. Mike Leach and his mustachioed QB are still nearly flawless, and the Pirate is optimistic a bounty of pigskin booty will sail his way before the final college football playoff pairings are revealed. The Cougs wind their way to Buffalo country, where Ralphie has big plans to make a mess of the Palouse platoon. The Buffs are treading water at 5-4, and a win at Folsom Field is critical to their after-Christmas planning. Sorry, CU. See you next year. The Generals victor, Washington State. Virginia Tech at Pittsburgh. For Pitt's sake, the Panthers are sitting atop the Coastal Division. A fantastic road win last week at UVA and other teams in the division with a topsy-turvy year, and voila, the 4-1 in the ACC Fighting Narduzzies are doing just that, fighting. Justin Fuente's chair is getting a little warm in Southwest Virginia. He didn't slip into the throne built by Beamer to take the program down a few notches. The Hokie Birds will strut the hinds, but them big city boys will beat the wishbones out of VT. The Generals victor, Pitt. Troy at Georgia Southern. A pair of 7-2 overall teams meet up along beautiful Eagle Creek with control of the Sun Belt East at stake. After a big win over top 25 App State, GSU simply couldn't back that up and lost to Arkansas State last weekend. The Trojans are a perfect 5-0 in the Sun Belt. Oh, and they've also notched a win over the Nebraska Cornhuskers. But I digress. The Wiregrass Warriors will get out of the burrow and improve their postseason possibilities. The Generals victor, Troy. Texas at Texas Tech. Two teams looking for Big 12 leftovers merged this football Saturday in wild, wonderful West Texas. Raider Red really hates that burnt orange color, and he's been saving up a salvo to pepper that beast known as Bevo. The Weird Austin cattle methodically meander to Lubbock County with their tails tucked beneath. TTU is aiming to win this standoff for the third time in 4 years. And guns up, the going band from Raiderland will get one heck of a workout this weekend. The Generals victor, the Chancellor Spurs go to Texas Tech. We've already looked at the weekend's biggest battles across the nation, but hang on to your helmet, there's more around the corner. We'll be back in just a second to wrap up this week's General Gridiron with our rapid fire picks.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Dad. Do we have a gun?
Why do you ask that, kiddo?
This is General Gridiron back with you. We've already maneuvered through this weekend's frontline college football showdowns. Now, it's time to fix bayonets and storm the field with our rapid-fire football forecast. Ohio State tops Michigan State. LSU's back on track at Arkansas. Michigan routs Rutgers. UAB wins against Southern Miss. South Carolina spurs Florida. UCF jousts Navy. Miami runs over Georgia Tech. Louisiana Tech steams Rice. West Virginia, no problems, versus TCU. Penn State pummels Wisconsin. Oregon in a close one at Utah. Northwestern neutralizes Iowa. Texas A&M gigs Mississippi. South Florida silences Cincinnati. Temple has a hoot at Houston. California spanks USC. Kansas State keeps the Governor's Cup versus KU. McNeese lassos Northwestern State. Missouri traps Vanderbilt. And for the third straight year, Duke rings the victory bell after putting a whooping on North Carolina. Well, troops, you can now put your swords back in their scabbards. We're all out of picks on this week's edition of General Gridiron. We'll be back again next week. Same General Gridiron time, same General Gridiron station. So don't forget to tune us in on the radio, Facebook, YouTube TV, and the newest and hottest talk show in the South, The Y'all Show. And don't forget to tell your friends all about the show. Just search for General Gridiron. This is John Rawl, the General of Gridiron Glory, thanking you for letting me be a part of your weekend. General Gridiron is a production of CRM Sports. For more, log on to crmsports.com.
That'll be all, y'all.